evening. Today is Monday, November 15th, 2021, and this special meeting of the Romulus Community Schools Board of Education is called to order at 6:01 p.m. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll? And for any board member participating remotely, please state your location by city, county, and county, please.
Bergeron. Here. Kennard. Present. Wester. Present. Terrell. Present. German.
Present, Wayne County Romulus.
Evetts present. Piles.
Present. We have a quorum. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is there a motion to accept the agenda either as presented or amended? Would you like to make a motion to present the agenda as amended and safety amendment?
I would like to move that the Board of Education accept the meeting agenda as amended. I would like to add the action item for bringing back Dr. Edmondson. As well as the action item for giving notification to the interim superintendent of 10-day notice.
There is a motion to accept the agenda as amended with those amendments presented by Ms. Wester. Is there support? Support. Supported by Terrell. Madam Secretary, will you please call the vote?
Kennard.
No.
Terrell. Yes. German.
No.
Bergeron.
Yes.
Piles.
No.
Evetts, no.
Motion fails.
Wester,
Wester.
yes.
I'm sorry,
Wester. I
Wester,
thought you
yes.
started with Wester. I apologize, Ms. Wester. Thought she started with you. Motion fails. I move that the Board of Education accept the meeting agenda as presented. Is there support?
Support, Kennard.
Madam Secretary?
Bergeron.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Wester.
No.
Terrell.
No.
German.
Yes.
Evetts, yes. Piles.
Yes. Motion carries. First on the agenda tonight, we have an action item for the interim co-supervisor of RECC, Sharon Neiman. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Sharon Neiman at the rate of $10 per day, in addition to her current contractual salary as interim co-supervisor of the RECC GSRP, effective as November the 4th, 2021 until filled. The rationale, teacher Sharon Newman possesses the rare certification that will allow her to be a building supervisor. She has a bachelor's degree in early childhood. She has been in close communication with the Wayne Reeser Early Childhood Consultant, Dr. Helen Oliver Brooks, who supervises these programs in Wayne Reeser. Dr. Brooks approves the Great Start Readiness Program budget. Dr. Brooks has approved financial allocations for both co-supervisors as it is within the budget. Without us being able to use Sharon's certificate, then the state of Michigan will close the program. The budget implications is GSRP. The board members have the exhibits in their package, which is confidential copy of degree, memorandum of understanding.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Kennard, supported by Evetts. The floor is open for questions, comments.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Rao.
I'd like to know how did we arrive at $10 a day. Sorry. Thank you. How did we arrive at a rate of $10 a day?
Mr. McNatt, I'll turn that to you.
So it was in communication with Dr. Brooks. And then I discussed that over with the teacher, and she thought that was fair and reasonable as well.
Mr. Bergeron, did you have a question?
No, mine is not a question, mine's a comment.
Okay,
I can go?
yes.
Well, you know what? This right here, all this interim garbage, okay, is exactly that. We are giving our district away to people that are not our people.
So these are our people.
No, no, they're not. Until the superintendent appoints them, not you, not a temporary, and not these lawyers that you have. It's not an employee. You're ruining this district.
Mr.
You are
Bergeron,
ruining this
I don't
district.
know these employees. This recommendation was brought by the superintendent.
Apparently, you're the superintendent.
Okay. So there's a motion on the floor to approve a $10 per day in addition to the current salary. Are there any other comments about that or questions about that? Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Bergeron,
No.
Kennard,
Yes.
Wester. Terrell. German,
Yes.
Evans, yes. Piles,
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, so I would, we have another motion, but I would like to note that without us being able to do this, then the state of Michigan would close this program. Next, Mr. Hanson, will you please stop shouting out? Mr. Hanson. The next, we have an action item, interim co-supervisor of RECC, GSRP, Tracy Richardson. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend for Tracy Richardson at the rate of $250 per day to serve as interim co-supervisor of RECC GSRP effective as November the 16th, 2021 until filled. The rationale, teacher Sharon Newman has agreed to allow the district to use her certificate to be an advisor to an individual to take on the daily responsibilities germane to running the building. Hiring person to take on the daily responsibilities was the coordination of Ms. Neiman for the district being able to use her license. Tracy Richardson was recommended a possible candidate from Wayne Risa's Human Resource Director. Mr. Richardson is currently working part-time in another district, so upon approval, I will ask for a copy of his fingerprints. I have been in close communication with the Wayne Resa's early childhood consultant, Dr. Helen Oliver Brooks, who supervised these programs in Wayne Risa. Dr. Brooks approves the Great Start Readiness Program budget. Dr. Brooks has approved financial allocations for both co-supervisors, and it is within the budget. Without us being able to use Sharon's certificate, then the state of Michigan will close the program. The budget implications is GSRP budget. Board members have in exhibits, contract, and confidential resume.
Thank you, Ms. Kennard. Before we have support, I do want to point out to the board that this motion has typos. It was used as a template from the other one, so please cross the name Sharon Newman and put in Tracy Richardson, please. Moved by Kennard. Is there support?
support.
Moved by Kennard, supported by Evans. The floor is open. Seeing no questions or comments, Madam Secretary.
Evans, yes. German,
Yes.
Bergeron,
No.
Wester. Terrell,
No.
Kennard,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes. Motion carries. Next, we have an action item for the interim director of curriculum, Mr. Nelson Henry. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Nelson Henry at a rate of 100 per day, in addition to his current contractual salary for duties as interim executive curriculum director, effective November the 16th, 2021, until filled. The rationale, Administrator Henry will be in the position until the position is filled. He has volunteered to support the district by taking on the responsibilities. The Romulus Association of School Administrators has expressed their support for Mr. Henry moving into the new role. Budget implications is a general fund, exhibits in the board packet, memorandum of understanding, and confidential resume.
Moved by Kennard, is there support?
Support.
Supported by Evans. The floor is open. Or do we have any questions, comments? Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Bergeron,
No.
Kennard,
Yes.
Wester. Terrell,
No.
German,
Yes.
Evans, yes. Piles,
Yes, motion carries. Next, we have an action item for the interim middle school principal, Mrs. Floretta McNeil Marino. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend for Floretta Marino at the rate of $50 per day, in addition to her current contractual salary as interim middle school principal, effective November the 16th, 2021, until the position is filled. Rationale, if the Board of Education appoints Mr. Henry as interim curriculum director, then there would be a need to fill a replacement for the middle school principal. Administrator Marino has agreed to take on the additional responsibilities, provided she is given some assistance to carry out her previous responsibilities. Budget implications is a general fund, and board members have exhibits in their board packet, memorandum of understanding, and confidential resume.
Moved by Kennard, is there support?
support.
Supported by Evans. Floor is open for board member comments or questions. Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Evans, yes. Terrell,
No.
German.
Yes.
Excuse me, I need to be able to hear the official vote, so whoever is speaking, please. You don't need to, she is virtual.
No. No, stop. Okay, we are in compliance. She does not have to be seen. Please stop yelling out. Madam Secretary, call Ms. German again so she can be heard on the record, please.
German,
Yes.
Bergeron,
No.
Wester. No. Terrell, I'm sorry, Kennard,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is an action item for the Interim Director of Human Resources, Daniel Scott. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve an interim human resources director contract with Dan Scott as a rate of $500 per day, beginning November the 16th, 2021, and ending when the Director of Human Resources position is filled. The rationale, Don Scott will perform the duties of Interim Director of Human Resources. Please see contract for the details pursuant of the Board of Education Policy number 4001. His references were outstanding. The budget implications is the general fund. The exhibits the board members have in their board packet, confidential resume, and contract.
Moved by Kennard. Is there support?
support.
Supported by Evans. Floor is open for board member comments, questions, concerns. Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Bergeron,
No.
Evans, yes. German,
Yes.
Terrell,
No.
Wester. No. Piles,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is an extra responsibility stipend. Is there a motion?
Oh, Madam President, recommended motion. Move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Angela Broughton.
Oh, wait, is that the one that's
Is
next?
that the one?
Oh, I'm sorry, I went too far, I apologize.
Is that the one?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to get on the right page, I'm sorry.
All right, okay. Recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Angela Broughton, Paula Guzman, Johanna Kadrai, Sarah Khan, Latura Weston, Cameron Eagley, Tanya Gregory, and Cindy Morrison at the rate of $50 per day for additional responsibilities starting August 16th through December the 31st for business days, and paid in one lump sum in December the 3rd for all employees mentioned who are employed with the district as of November the 24th, 2021. The rationale, with the departure of the Director of Curriculum and Human Resources, these key 8 individuals have jumped into action to take on additional responsibilities to serve the district. If it was not for their dedication to the district to take on these additional responsibilities, then key major
You went out.
Thank you. Okay, if it was not for their dedication to the district to take on these additional responsibilities, then key major functions of the organization would have been neglected. I have consulted with all the individuals above, as well as the interim finance director. The district, as of December 17th, will avoid expenditures for the directors of human resources and curriculum estimated in salary, retirement, and FICA in the amount of $90,274.94. Furthermore, since July 2021, Central Office has lost the position of the Human Resource Generalist. In the area of finance, the 3 individuals are new to the district, and in some cases, new to software programs and our standard operating procedures. These 3 third-party finance personnel are also not present on a regular and predictable basis to discuss and produce data for the interim superintendent. The cost associated for these 8 employees would be for 94 business days between August the 16th and December the 30th, 2021, which equates to $4,700 of wages per employee plus retirement and FICA. Retirement and FICA is figured at 40% of wages. 94 days times 50 day equates to $4,700 plus ORS, FICA 40% equals to $6,580. Total new dollars per employee. $6,580 per employee times 8 employees equates to a total cost of $52,640. The budget implications is none due to the expenditures were budgeted for the directors, and there are no exhibits.
Moved by Kennard, is there support?
Support.
Supported by Evans. The floor is open. If board members have questions, comments, or concerns.
Madam President, please.
Yes, Ms. Terrell.
First of all, I want to make clear, I support everyone that works in this district. I support Mr. Henry, I support Ms. Marino, all of the hard work that they have done. I feel like this interim business is additional expenses that we would not have because of board actions. I feel like the interim positions could readily be resolved if we had our superintendent back in his seat doing the job that he knows how to do great, and employing people that are going to be dedicated and will be here. With that being said, these individuals are receiving these extra responsibility stipends have worked hard, and they never should have been taken away from them. And
This is new, Ms. Terrell. This is new.
extra stipends in addition. So I said all that to say that I believe that they have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Ms. Broden, Ms. Gutzman, Jemana, all of these individuals listed, and just because I didn't call their name, it's not because I don't feel like they haven't put in the hard work. But I do feel that it's unfortunate that we have put additional stress on these individuals who have worked tirelessly to promote the district. And I just wanted to make that comment before we make a vote.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Yes, Madam
Ms.
President.
Lester?
Under the rationale, it says, furthermore, since July 2021, central office has lost the position of the human resource generalist. We never had the position. We pulled it back out, so we never had that position. So that should not be in there. Because that was not a job. That was not,
Yep.
we had it, everybody voted to take it out, so that should not be there.
Are there any other comments?
Yeah, Madam President, I also believe that we need to, compensate those who perform the responsibilities and duties for the district. And as I stated at the last meeting, there's a difference between exempt and non-exempt employees, and we want to make sure that we're following the Fair Labor Standards Act. And so, in central office, they're not union, correct? You're either exempt and non-exempt, and the compensation should equate to what we have to follow by law. And so I guess it goes back to the question that I had last week. Did we come up with some numbers pertaining to, because some of them, the difference between two, one is that if you are non-exempt is for hourly working employees, exempt is for those who are salaried. And so all of them fall into one or two of those categories. And so if we're going to compensate them, I do feel that we should, okay, but we want to do it right. We want to do it right as it is in line with the Fair Labor Standards Act. And so I think that my recommendation, my suggestion is that we get those numbers right so we know what we're giving them, and we provide them what it is that they should be getting. And so it's accurate, and so the district is in compliance with state law. So that's all I'm saying about it. I think that we need to make sure that's being done, okay?
Thank you, Ms. Kennard. And I know, Mr. McNatt, this question, I did not see any documentation as to the breakdown. I know that we have a general date where we're going back to August 16th and paying it through December 31st. And at that time, we lost Ms. Claire, but we still had an HR director. Yet there's HR employees listed in here. So what is the breakdown in that? And the point that Ms. Kennard made is, I know this came up in the summer when you were here before. Hourly employees, by law, we have to pay them overtime if they're doing extra work and working longer hours. So, and we had been advised by council not to blur those lines, but to pay it that way. So do we have any documentation as to the extra hours that were worked as a result of the extra duties and a breakdown of the dates other than this general time frame?
I do not have anything with me at this time. I do know that some employees have been given permission to do overtime.
Yeah, because that's what the Fair Labor Standards Act is. Those individuals who are exempt, what they put in overtime over and above, they get time and a half. So we want to make sure they get the actual amount. I'm not sure if these numbers are less than what they should be getting, okay, or over. I just want them to be compensated adequately in terms of what they should be getting and making sure that is correct.
And have those employees put in that overtime and been paid for it?
Yes, some employees have put in for overtime and have been paid for it, yes.
Okay, so we would want to know that so we're not on top of the overtime that has already been paid by the district, going back retro to August 16th and also including an extra $50 per day. And I know, yeah, and there's one employee in here who is salaried. So I know we have a motion coming up for Mr. Cooper. Would Angela Broaden need to be removed from?
Is she
This-
salaried or,
salaried,
is she
yeah.
salaried or she's?
She is salaried.
Okay, well then she falls under the same category with Mr. Cooper.
Okay, so then we would have to pull her out for the. So are there any other questions or comments on this?
I have a question.
Yes.
These employees that you're talking about, are they hourly employees
Well, that's what we're saying.
or salary employees?
That's what we're saying, both. One of them, a salaried employee got lumped in, the rest are hourly.
Well, all that other stuff that you were saying about salaried employees isn't a hourly employee, you have to pay them overtime.
Correct.
Okay, salaried employees, you know, with you coming up with these numbers, okay, for a part-time position, with all due respect, I don't agree with, okay? When it came to the union contracts and that, and you didn't want to give our employees the money that you have, now all of a sudden we got all this money. I don't understand
Okay,
it.
so Mr. Bergeron, that
I
wasn't.
don't understand it.
Mr. Bergeron,
understand
that wasn't the truth. But I did not come up with any of these numbers. I saw them when the entire board saw them. I didn't come up with these numbers. I don't know how to come up with these numbers. To answer your question, Angela Broaden is the only director who is lumped in with hourly employees. So she would need to be taken out. Hourly employees, that is what we are saying. They are entitled to overtime, and that's how we pay them.
Madam
And-
President,
And that's not an arbitrary amount. That is based on their rate.
But what I'm saying is that you have a interim human resource director, you have an interim accountant, you have an interim another employee. As far as I'm concerned, you know, we don't have to stick by that particular pay schedule that they were getting, okay? I know that you did that with our superintendent, and I disagree with that. Nothing against you, but you know what? If he wants a part-time job, you don't treat interim people better than you do the full-time people. That's my point. Thank you.
Ms. Lester?
Madam President, as it relates to your administrative staff at central office, you can't say that they're actually hourly because there's a salary attached to the position when they apply for it. So it will say that administrative assistant for XYZ department has an annual salary of $40,000. So that's how they get that hourly, but it's still a salary. So it's not really like they're making $12 an hour or whatever, but they're still on salary. Because when you go in and you get paid, you're being prorated, your salary is being broken down. So so I can't say that they're a regular hourly
Okay.
person.
So if you look at those contracts, that's why it says an hourly rate of no less than, and it is in that contract. So if those employees who are hourly employees leave early, or those,
They use
their pay is docked. It's unlike a salary employee.
unless they use their sick time
Well,
or.
exactly, unless. But if our directors work part of a day, they don't use their sick time or get docked. That is
Why?
the difference between the salary and the hourly employee.
Why not?
That's just how it
That's
is.
how- that's how-
Just
that's
the
how
Fair Labor
salaries
Act, that's
work,
how it
yeah.
is, yeah. that's
And
just
by
how-
that
yeah.
same token, our salaried employees, when they are working 60 hours a week, they're not making extra money, where other employees, when they are working overtime, by law, we must pay them.
And I can add to that, I'm a salary working employee. If I work, and you're right, and so, right, and when we work, you know, we work beyond the hours, there's technically it depends on no compensation, so you can we receive stipends, you know, if you work overtime versus someone who is, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And
Are
I
there
can
any
only
other-
go by the law.
Are there any other questions? Ms. German or Ms. Ovich, you haven't spoken yet. Do you have anything?
No, I do not.
Okay. Madam Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Bergeron?
No.
Terrell?
No.
Kennard?
Yes.
Wester?
two different things here.
It's this motion right here. For the, August 16th through December 31st, to pay these employees an extra $50 per day.
But then you also
In
talked
one
about
lump sum.
taking Angela Broughton out, so there has to be another motion.
There was
to
just
pull
a
her out.
discussion to that,
Right.
so. So the motion as it is what we're voting on.
So I apologize. Let me go back. I thought we were going to change it and,
That's where it got
super,
confusing.
and that's the confusion.
You need to
So we need to
rephrase the
do a new
motion.
motion excluding Ms.
so-
Broaden.
Okay, so I will do this. I make a motion that we amend the motion to remove Ms. Broaden's name and strike the language for, central office has lost the position of human resource generalist. Is there support for the amendment?
I'm sorry, Madam President. Should that include that Ms. Broaden is going to be moved over to the,
No, right now, we're just talking about this motion. So for the purposes of this motion, I make a motion that we amend the motion to remove Angela Broaden's name and to strike the language, central office has lost the position of a human resource generalist. Is there support?
support?
Okay, so the motion to amend was moved by Pyle, supported by Kennard. Madam Secretary, will you please call the vote? And this is motion to amend.
Bergeron. Terrell.
Yes.
Lester.
Yes.
Kennard.
Yes.
Evans, yes. German.
Yes.
Piles.
Yes. So now we have the motion as amended to vote on without the language of the human resource generalist and removing Angela Broaden. And this is for a stipend for additional responsibilities for all employees listed at a rate of $50 per day from August 16th through August 31st. A total
December 31st.
December 31st, I apologize, with a total cost of $52,640.
The cost is gonna be different.
It's gonna be less than.
It's gonna be less.
Oh, that has Angela's in it, so we're gonna need to know that. Well, you know what, I'm sorry, it's $6,580 per employee,
Right.
so it would be $6,580 less.
So
I do have a question about this. Are we going to see who was already paid, or are we just paying again?
Yep. That's what we just voted on. It's already been voted on.
The total cost needs to be determined.
So the 6,580.
It'd be 46,060 without the one person.
I'm sorry, what is it?
46060.
Okay, so we've amended the motion, so now we will vote on the motion, on whether to approve the amended motion. And the total cost of this is 46,000, or 4,000, 40, no, it's not 46, yes, $46,060.
$60.
Madam Secretary?
So this is to approve the amendment.
We approved the amendment, so now we have to, I'm sorry, I made the motion to approve I made the motion for the amended motion. Is there support on that? We already approved the motion to amend. Is there support for the amended motion?
Support.
Okay, are all board members clear what we're voting on? We're voting on the amended motion now. It is,
That's what we just voted on.
no, we voted to amend the motion. So now we voted to amend the motion, which passed. Now we need to vote on the motion.
We need to vote on the correct
On the amended
terminology.
motion, right. Go ahead, Madam Secretary. Do you understand, Ms. Lester?
Oh, I understand.
Okay.
Kennard,
Yes.
Bergeron.
No.
Terrell.
I don't know what I'm voting on. Right
You are
now.
voting on.
I don't know what I'm voting on.
Ms. Terrell, you are voting on the changed terminology of the motion. So we changed the motion. We had to ask for permission to change the motion, which passed. Now that we have changed the terminology, correcting the motion, that is what you are voting on, the corrected motion at this point.
You need to restate the motion where it's saying that the new balance of it is $46,060, okay?
Well, and that's what we do.
So do we need to read the whole thing over again?
Yes, you
Okay,
need
okay.
to do that.
So here's
Okay.
what, okay. So I move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Paula.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Right. It just seems a little confusing.
Okay, so this is what took place. Do you want me to explain it, Ms. Piles?
That's fine, Ms. Evans.
Okay, so this is what happened. The motion was worded incorrectly in a couple forms, in a couple ways. There was one salary person in this motion that should not be included. There was a term about, a sentence about the human resource generalist that has to come out because it was misstated. And now the dollar figures are lowered because it takes out one person. So the first motion that we did was to correct the language of the existing motion. That vote was done. It is now ready to vote on the new terminology, but we have to read the new motion with the correct terminology.
I think that's what.
This is a motion, this is not the motion.
Okay, so we had a motion, but there was a motion to amend the motion. We voted on the motion to amend, which carried. So now we have to vote on whether or not to approve the amended motion.
I think where it got confusing is because with the changes, you reread the motion, so it made it seem like we were doing the amendment and the vote at the same time.
No, we
Right.
didn't reread it. We removed her and struck the language.
Madam President, may I
So
say
now,
something?
now where we are is we passed the amendment, we passed the motion to amend it. It has now been amended, and I will read the amended motion. Mr. McNutt, do you want to say something before we?
The first paragraph on that document is the motion, the rest of it's rationale. You're referring to that as the motion, that is not a
Right.
motion,
Right,
right?
but
Yes,
but what I'm saying is we
Thank you.
removed that, but for the record,
That
we
is
stated.
just backup, that is not considered to be part
Right,
of the
but
motion.
once we removed her, for the record, we state the new value of it.
But it is
or the
not the
cost,
motion,
right.
though.
So the motion as amended reads, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to Paula Gutzman, Jumana Kadri, Sarah Khan, LaTroya Weston, Cameron Egley, Tanya Gregory, and Cindy Morrison at a rate of $50 per day for additional responsibilities starting August 16th through December 31st for the business days and paid in one lump sum on December 3rd for all employees mentioned who are employed with the district as of November 24th, 2021. And it was made by Piles, supported by Evans.
Kennard,
Yes.
Bergeron,
No.
Terrell,
Yes.
Wester,
Yes.
German,
Yes.
Evans, yes, Piles,
No. Motion carries. Next, we have an action item for extra duty stipend for grants. Mr. David Cooper, is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education approve a stipend to David Cooper at a rate of $3,750 per quarter, starting July 1, 2021, for additional duties of grants work until the position is filled. The rationale was Mr. David Cooper has taken on duties of grant work for the district. The board approval of a stipend for this work is being requested. Mr. Cooper has been working on grants through the summers, such as the ESSER grants. He has received less help. This added responsibility pay is retroactive to July 1, 2021. The first quarter of the fiscal year is July through September.
Payments shall be approved by the end of each fiscal quarter. The rationale is the ESSER funds too, and there are no exhibits.
Support.
Moved by Kennard, supported by Evans. Are there any questions or comments?
I do. Again, we're back where we were our last meeting, in which we received a comment from Angela Broaden, and because she's a director, she should be included with this stipend as well.
Okay, so just to be clear, Mr. Cooper has been doing these duties actually since back in July. And he's been doing different capacities, so we would need a motion separately for Ms. Broaden because the amounts and the time frame involved is different.
And so we made the change. We pulled her out of the other action item. We need to incorporate that. So I don't know if we're going to add this today, at this table today. We're going to add her back in.
Right, so, but this motion right here is for Mr. Cooper.
I understand that.
So,
I'm trying to
so the
Madam
amount,
President, may I
the amounts
speak?
for them would not be the same, yes.
It can be, the amounts can be different, and it can be in the same motion by a board member. No, it will not be paid by ESSER funds. Hers will not be paid by
Then
ESSER
can we
funds.
have a separate motion for Ms. Broaden?
It could have the same motion, a different motion.
Okay,
And it could be the same motion too.
right. So, right now though, if we can.
ESSER's not in the motion.
Because when we do this, okay, we're getting off this topic, but yes, we have talked about Ms. Broaden and that she is due money. We just had to pull her out from those hourly employees. And we will do a separate motion for her. And then if the board is looking at all the names, when all of this is done, we still have one central office employee who is left out, who works incredibly hard and does everything extra that's asked. So I would ask the board to consider that when we consider Ms. Broaden as well. But for the purposes of this motion on the floor, which is been made by, Kennard, supported by Evans, I would request that we limit our discussion to the motion on the floor.
Madam President,
Yes.
as we did last Monday, at the last meeting, no disrespect to Mr. Cooper, from the email that we received at 7:12 about Ms. Angela Broughton, I would like to amend this and hold this off until Monday when we can do all these stipends at the same time. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at possible, Title IX. So I make a motion that we remove this till next meeting.
So,
And then, Madam President,
is there
also.
support? There's a motion. Is there support?
Support, Kennard.
Okay, so it's moved by Wester, supported by Kennard, that we move this to next meeting. The floor is open for discussion. I will let you know that I did talk with legal, and there was not a Title IX violation in this, and it wasn't apples to apples in this. Mr. Cooper has been doing these duties since July, and we are now acting on this in November. He will be paid retro, and that is not to say that Ms. Broaden will not receive the same.
Totally understandable. I'm trying to be fair and even across the board. It's better to be safe than sorry. Safe than sorry.
Well, that's
It may not be a Title IX, but she can possibly file something.
Right, well, I'm saying that we are safe. I did ask legal about this last week. And again, then we have Mr. Garland, who's not mentioned at all. I'm
So-
not sure why that is.
Which
So-
means that we should
Right.
it should be tabled, just like my
Okay.
motion
So,
said,
okay.
till Monday, so that we can take care of all our central office, to make sure that all our directors are taken care of for all the hard work that he and she have been putting in day one since the school year started, and since we've had to have our superintendent out, They've been taking on extra because we've lost our central office at no fault to theirs, no fault to our community, no fault to our students.
Okay, so, Ms. Wester, did you start to say something? I mean, Mr. Terrell, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, it should include, Mr. Garland. I don't understand, first of all, the process of we're contacting legal and adding additional fees on there, and to see how not to take care of someone. Let's take care of them. Let's take care of Mr. Garland. Let's take care of Mr. Cooper. Let's take care of Ms. Broughton.
Okay, Ms. Terrell, legal was not contacted to find out how not to take care of someone. Legal was contacted because I wanted to make sure that we were not slighting Ms. Broughton, because that's why we removed Mr. Cooper on Monday. I later found out that we did not need to remove Mr. Cooper, that we can still give Ms. Broughton what she's due, and that it wasn't Title IX. That was for learning, so we would know.
And
I'm sorry, Ms. Kennard wanted to speak, she hasn't spoken yet.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. But I think, for the board to be, fiscal responsible and addressing, all of our central administration, all at one time, I think, I had to concur with Trustee Wester on this one. So I think that we,
I'm
we're
sorry,
not saying.
I'm sorry, Ms. Kennard. Motion to recess, is there support? Motion to recess?
Support.
Okay, there's a motion to recess by Pyle, supported by Kennard. Madam Secretary, will you call the?
Bergeron? Terrell? Yes?
Yes.
What,
Bring that man
Wester?
back up in here.
Yes, Wester?
yeah,
Kennard?
Yes.
Evans, yes. Piles?
Yes.
German?
Yes. Yes.
We will recess. We will recess until the audience is under control.
Start removing people from this meeting, that's wrong. Bring that man back up in here.
Okay.
He was not being disrespectful.
I don't know what happened.
Bring him back up
I don't know
in
what
here.
happened.
It's a violation of the Open Meetings Act. You can't
No,
just
no,
do
you
that.
can't shout out during the meeting at all. And if you can be warned, and it's not just during public comment.
Somebody was without a mask.
that's not why they took Green out. That's not why they took Green out.
What is Garland?
About the security guard that was
I
taken
don't know
without a
who
mask.
took them out, the police took them out. I
Yes,
don't know why.
That's who Garland's talking about.
The police took them out though, not security,
Why?
police.
Security.
I don't know why.
Security and,
Sorry?
so
What?
first of all, the security shouldn't be up in here anyway.
We're in recess.
There's no reason for us to waste our money, and these people have the
We
right
don't
to
even know, the
participate
police
in this.
did that. The police did that. The police did that.
The police did that for a reason. They were called for a reason.
Debbie,
Bring
as
that man back up
president, you
in
need
here.
to find out what happened, because you can't do it. Security, I said as president, because security had to call them.
Right.
At her request.
They probably.
Well, not at her request.
They
I'm sitting
probably
up here.
asked him and he just didn't, he wasn't following.
They went to him and said nothing. Ain't nobody said nothing to him since Dory's been sitting there.
So what did he, what was he doing?
All he was doing was talking. And he didn't even get loud. And they never said anything to him.
You're not supposed to be removed unless it's by the chair of the meeting.
That is a violation. To have people standing up here picking out who they want to be in here and who has to go out. That's not right. That's a violation.
Security wouldn't have known that, who to tell.
They shouldn't be here in the first place.
When? Today?
We don't know, we don't hear it. That's what happens, there's a threat to punch somebody in the face. I'm going to jail tonight. So police were called, the police talked to him, and now he's back.
Miss Debbie, my thing is, when that threat came, we all should have known about that threat. Just, so we know that there was gonna be security if there was a threat. I didn't know anything about it, Brett. No, I'm saying,
The reason we had to get security today is because the police don't come, and it's not a safe environment.
no. What I'm saying is, I understand what you just said, but I didn't know. I'm just saying, we didn't know that something was going down to where we had to have.
That's why the message is like, don't get threatened to punch somebody in the face and say, I'm going to kill them, I'm going to kill them. But the police talked to them, and now we got moved. And I just, the board chair can't remove anybody. The board chair has to run the meeting show. The board chair doesn't have to do the removing. I cannot physically remove somebody.
No, you don't remove them, but it has to be at the direction, according to the law that I read, it has to be at the direction of the board
The
president.
law says that you can't be on duty in a meeting. Somebody else, sergeant and firemen can do that. Your security, the police can do
I'm
that.
not asking you to physically, you
No,
personally.
I can't even
but
see
it-
and hear who
But
it
it
is.
has to be at the direction of the president, the chair of the meeting.
But they had said, if that is our protocol, stop talking. The next time you talk, remove, and then remove.
Yeah,
That was directed, yes, that was the direction.
but it's at the chair.
That, motion to reconvene an open meeting. Is there support?
Support Kennard.
Moved by Piles, supported by Kennard. Madam Secretary?
Bergeron,
No.
Terrell,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Evans, yes, German.
Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Hanson, I need to be able to hear the votes.
Mr. Hanson, you are not entitled to yell out in the meeting.
Ms. Piles, your vote, please.
Yes. Motion carries. We are back in open session at 6:54. So, we were discussing,
We were at the amended motion,
To be tabled, correct?
tabled to the
Yes,
next
thank you.
meeting for Mr. Cooper.
so we had discussion, yes. So the motion, the amended motion is made by Wester, supported by Terrell. Kennard, I'm sorry, Kennard, I'm looking for my paper, is to table the approval of Mr. Cooper's stipend to next Monday.
Yes.
Bergeron,
No.
Terrell,
Yes.
Lester,
Yes.
Evans, yes, German,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Piles.
No. Motion carries. Next is an action item on educational degree restoration for central office, non-bargaining administrative assistants and secretaries. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion. Move that the Board of Education restore educational degree stipends that were taken away after the start of the year for non-bargaining central office administrative assistants, secretaries as follows. Effective immediately with retroactive pay beginning on July 1, 2021. The eligible employees are Paula Gusman for a master's degree of $2,500 and Johanna Kadra for an associate's degree of $5,000, and these amounts shall be added to their salaries.
Support.
Moved by Kennard, supported by Wester. The floor is open. Is there any comments or questions?
I still have a little concern. The job descriptions, what is in the job descriptions as it relates to the requirement when a person takes on a position? Because normally it says that the position requires a bachelor's, master's, or whatever in the job, and is associated with the salary at the time of hire. So I guess my question would be, in our job description, is that language in there? And if it is, then that amount is already compensated when the salaries were determined upon hire or entering into the school, into the district. And I think I asked that question when it came before us before. And how will we be identifying the increases based on a degree? Say, for instance, if a person moves in, is there anything in the administrative regulations or anything that's in the human resources practices and policies where it denotes that we will be adding this to that language? I mean, where are we? I mean, how are we determining this? And what does all of this mean? And I think I asked that before.
Right. So, Ms. Kennard, I know that in our job postings, they will typically read whether it's a high school diploma preferred or for the central office, say bachelor's degree preferred or experience in the field preferred. I believe that the current postings for HR and the Director of Human Resources read the same way.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would expect, the language is gonna be there for preferred masters or bachelors when you're looking at your executive type positions, your director type positions. But I believe, if not mistaken, if we're looking at secretarial staff, it may say high school diploma or equivalent and maybe a couple of years of previous employment. But I do not believe that our secretary administrative contract stated that they had to have a bachelor's or a master's. It's usually high school or high school equivalency.
And also, does the district offer tuition reimbursement when individuals matriculate into a higher degree program? Because of that that's double dipping. And if we don't.
I do not believe we offer.
So so this is unclear for me. I can't speak for anyone else, but I could say for me in terms of, I think we need to have a little bit more discussion or even administration in terms of how the plan moving forward so that those coming into the district or those in the district, how we are going to fiscally be responsible, and making sure the language is correct, whether it's in the job title, and because usually it's associated with the salary because you do the salary years of experience to compensate a salary for a person. Whether that degree language is going to be part of it, I think it needs to be some additional due diligence did to this.
Would you like to make a motion to table this?
I'd like to make a motion to table this.
Can we have comments still? We're
Yes,
just gonna
please.
cut it off?
I'd like to make a comment too.
Please.
You first, though. You first.
Okay. For me, the key word says restore.
Amen.
Restore
you.
educational degree stipends.
Thank you.
And to work in a job position and have it taken away, regardless to the fact if it's in a contract or whatever it might say. Last week, we did agree to take it down. It's back in here, and it's clear who's eligible for it. But for me, restore. That was the question. What was the amount? Restore. If nothing else, and we've talked about it before, if nothing else, we need incentives, reasons to retain our employees, our staff, our central office staff. We have to provide some type of incentive other than harass, reject, take away, reject, and always come up with a reason not to support them. Attract and retain talent. That's listed here in the rationale. And I beg of everyone to consider these are valuable people that have worked for our district in challenging times. And they have, I know what it's like to go to school and I know you know what it's like to go to school and have to and accomplish these goals. And it should be recognized. We're talking about $3,000. How much are we paying these security guards that are here? You know, restore. That's my comment.
Madam President, may I add?
Yes.
So I just want to say, first of all, trustee, I absolutely agree with everything you said. And the key there, and that was the one thing that I was not hearing at the table in this recent conversation. And I just want to say, I named the two people, and then I say, were not notified or communicated with prior to the start of the contract, July 1st. In other words, after they already started working under the premise that they were going to have this stipend give to them later, that this financial incentive was removed after they already started the year too, and they have already had this. So I go back and I add, and I want to reemphasize what the trustee just said, restore. I've written these three different stipends because they are different in nature, and this one is purely a restoration of something that was taken away after they already started working in the job, after the contracts. And I'll be honest with you, there's like 3 different contracts out on this right now. I'd like to know which one we are considering, but for me, it is restore, and it is the right thing to do. It wasn't communicated prior.
So the reason why there are 3 contracts, and there shouldn't be, there's only one contract, and the one contract is the one that was approved by the Board of Education. The reason why there are multiple copies is because central office contracts were executed without board knowledge or approval, and that's where the confusion came in. But when the board approved the contracts, there's only one copy, and those were provided to central office. So that's what we need to go by. The other thing is when those contracts came to us, because we actually gave unprecedented salary increases this year. Like one of the employees that for stipend, there's got between 11 and 12% salary increase. So that's how you attract and retain and boost morale. But we approved that, we have never, since I've been here, given that high of a central office salary increase in 1 year. We have not. I don't remember us ever doing it for teachers, but the point is, the board approved the higher salary increase because the stipend was removed in those contracts that we approved.
We have talked about
That was not communicated to the staff prior, and that should have been communicated to the staff prior. And I had the finance director, the current finance director, and legal in my office when you were there, and I shared with you that that was not communicated with them. That would have been a proper communication with the staff at that time, saying, look, we are moving away from this stipend. We're going to take the stipend and we're going to put it in your contract going forward.
Right.
And that did not happen. Therefore, when they received the salary, they thought, the increase in salary, they thought, wow, that's my increase. And it was presented to them afterwards that we are taking this away. So they thought that they had that as well. And that was not communicated to them prior to July 1st. And that's where I have a problem with.
So I believe you, but whose job is it to communicate to them? Right, so, exactly. So that's why there are people who don't have authority to just execute a contract that hasn't been approved. Because then the board is sitting here in a position where we don't approve significant salary increases like that and stipends. I know that wasn't communicated to them, and the reason being is because contracts were executed and conversations had with them without the board even being aware. So anyway, there is, so, Ms. Kennard, I didn't know if you wanted, if there's a motion to table, if we're gonna vote on this, because if not, we can move on and vote.
Well, I want to make myself clear. I am not saying that they are undeserving of continuing their education. Okay, that is not what I'm saying at all. What I hear you say is, what I'm hearing is that this information, they were provided this, and then it was taken away from them. It's more clear now. Okay, that's what's being said now. So I'm clear on that. And so, if they were told that they were going to get this, okay, and it didn't come before the board, that's what I'm also hearing, correct? It didn't come before the board, so it was taken back, but it was in their contract. And this is a one-time stipend, correct? So
We
how
are
are we
asking-
doing? So how are we? So say for instance, the person who's getting the associate degree. This time, no, now, if we were to prove that, and so then they to continue their education, they're going to get a bachelor's degree, they'll get the other 15. So is this a policy practice, okay, or are we just saying, okay, we're going to approve this now because they were already supposedly told that they were going to receive that and they're going to get it back? So that's number one. Number two, I'm also looking at the employee in terms of we should also be the attraction and retention and retaining of talent. In many organizations, there is incentives, and this is what I'm saying. When I say tuition reimbursement, that offsets all of this, and we won't have to come back to this. Okay, so I'm saying moving forward, if the board decides to go ahead with the understanding that because these employees were granted this, perhaps, however you want to think to vote, looking at it in that sense. And then, as we move forward with administration, that in some way, fashion, form, that we implement in our administrative regulations some type of tuition reimbursement, so it's ongoing, okay? And they're receiving something, those who want to, because that's what usually organizations do. And who knows, it depends, and then there's rules and regulations that you follow, because sometimes it's more than that. It's even more than what we have here. Is it by semester? So it may be more than that. So there's just some things that I have that I wanted to add to it. And so I want to retract what I said earlier, because this is more clear that they were already provided that. Okay.
So, Ms. Kennard, so you know, this is going to be added to salaries, not a one-time payment. The motion is to add to salaries. And so this would be, at the time that contracts are renewed each year, then that would be added onto the salary based on the degree they have at that time.
So that means that it will address tuition reimbursement that wouldn't be adequate. Correct. So I hear what you're saying. Okay, right. So this would be every time the salary and the contracts, then pertaining to wherever they are, then this will be added. Okay, that's clear. Yes. All right.
Yes. Okay. Madam Secretary?
What is the motion?
The motion was to.
Restore it?
Yeah,
The motion is as read originally.
yeah. We didn't amend this, so it was moved by Kennard, supported by Lester. Madam Secretary?
Bergeron? Kennard,
Yes.
Wester,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Evans, yes, German, German, Piles,
No.
Ms. German, are you still with us?
No, I'm good.
Okay, what is your vote, yes or no?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next, we have an action item, proposals for temporary outsourcing for financial positions. Is there a motion?
Madam President, recommended motion, move that the Board of Education solicit proposals for temporary outsourcing the management administrative functions of the positions of Director of Business/Finance and Accountant of the district's business office. The rationale, at our November the 8th, 2021 board meeting, this was a recommendation presented by Attorney John Giekrick, Clark Hill PLC, as developed by finance consultant Mike Dixon, Dixon Public Consulting. Mr. Jitterek and Dr. Dixon gave investigation, finance, audit updates at this meeting. There are no budget implications and no exhibits at this time.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Kennard, supported by Evans. The floor is open for discussion. Mr. Bergeron?
Madam President, with all due respect, everything you're doing is giving this district away to part-time people. The people in Romulus don't care about these people. They want to have a solid foundation of administration, and you're piecemealing it because you're in the power. You are not the superintendent, okay? You are not. And to bring these guys, you know, this attorney that you have was, I don't know, and this accountant hasn't come up with a number yet. I haven't seen him come up. He comes up and he gives a little speech and then he walks away. Where's his written documentation? Where's his spreadsheet?
That was
You know,
emailed
that's
last week,
ridiculous.
Mr.
You're
Bergeron.
giving this away. You're killing this community. You, Ms. Kennard, my friend over there, Debbie, and I don't even know Germ. She doesn't come to any meetings. So.
Anyone else?
Madam President,
Yes, Ms. Lester.
I stated before, we got the recommendation last week. We got the results. It said that our investigation, it's over. Our superintendent needs to be a part of the plan to move the business office forward. Every time I make a motion, every time I want to amend it, it's always down. We have support here for our superintendent. How will our district move forward? If we're constantly using our interim, we're paying, you know, and I'm sorry, Sean, you know, we're paying him $734 a day. We're paying our consultant, Mr. Dixon, $160 an hour. We have all these extra people over in finance that we were trying to get in the finance department previously to help and assist, and nobody wanted to pay any money. There's money going out the door on things that should be used for our students. We're paying 2 superintendents. We have our high school that doesn't have a budget so they can get supplies for the math department that they're asking for. We can't even get the numbers so that our staff can get what they need. We need our superintendent back. It was stated that once the audit was finished, our superintendent would be back because it was not personal. It was not personal. I made this motion. I tried to amend the agenda, and it's always shot down. We are going to spend so much money on attorney fees. And now we know he has an attorney because he can't come do his job. I sent information out months ago about look at this district, about what the board is doing and how the superintendent is suing the board for not allowing her to do her work. Nobody responded. One person did, and I said, this is just an FYI, because I don't want to see us go down that road. And here we are. Here we are down the road because we won't allow our superintendent to come back, do his job, do what he was doing good to restore central office, to get the staff and support in here, to support our staff, our students. Because the next thing is our doors are going to be shut. Parents are talking about taking their kids out of this district. This is sad. This is sad. You say you care. I've known all of you a long time before coming on the board. We need the superintendent back to do the job, to bring back the finance department so we can work, so he can get people in here trained to do it without spending all the extra money on consultant after consultant after consultant. Once again, I would love to amend the agenda to bring our superintendent back.
So,
Madam President,
I'm sorry, yeah. Ms. Wester, this motion is simply that we solicit proposals. We are not hiring anybody, we are soliciting proposals. And the first time, please stop shouting out so we can conduct business. The first time that this was brought to the board was by Dr. Edmondson. He talked, motion to recess.
Support.
Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Kennard,
yes.
Terrell,
No.
Wester,
No.
Bergeron,
No.
Evans, yes. German,
Yes.
Piles,
Yes, we are in recess until we can conduct business. 7:18.
We're not going to be able to do, we need to do what's right. And not addressing it, that's not going to move things forward.
We're recessed, so we can't talk or we're. We would like to finish business, but we cannot with all those, yes. We can recess and go home. We want to stay here and finish business. Can we do that without? Yeah. No, but, well, then, what, we can't do business with them shouting out. No, not with shouting out, no. No, they've got public comment. They can't, I want to hear what we have to say, and we can't hear with that. You can motion.
motion to come out of recess.
Moved by Evans. Supported by Wester. Madam Secretary?
Kennard,
Yes.
Terrell, Wester,
Yes.
Bergeron,
Yes.
Evans, yes. German, German, Piles,
Yes.
Ms. German, are you still with us?
Yeah, I can't hear you, Ms. Piles, I'm sorry.
Motion to come out of recess, Ms. German.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Ms. German needs to be able to hear. We are in open session at 7:21. So what I was saying is this motion is just to solicit proposals for temporary outsourcing. This was first brought to us as an idea, it was brought to us by Dr. Edmondson. Now, the reason why we are here today, and this is an outside entity. So we are here today because we have had two consultants, both Mr. Sovey, who after working with us for months and left, described our business office as a train wreck. And then we brought in another finance consultant who,
Point of order.
and then we brought in another finance consultant after our interim finance director resigned, who also brought to light serious concerns, which then led to the investigation. The investigation confirmed that our practices are dysfunctional. The auditor came in the second week of September, prepared to start the audit. Who is yelling out and why does it continue?
Madam President,
No, so our auditor came in the second week of September, prepared to conduct our audit, and said that we were not even prepared to start. Said that our journal entries, our bookkeeping, we did not have records that would allow him to do the audit. He submitted 15 requests, and in 2 weeks could not get anything for that reason. So if we know that we have historically had problems with our business office, we have had two consultants, we've had an investigation, we have our current auditor saying unless we make significant changes, the district won't survive. Our superintendent said that this was an option we needed to consider.
Madam
So
President.
here we are, Mr. Bergeron, so here we are today with the motion is to simply, solicit proposals. We have no idea what the cost of this is, what it encompasses. We only know that what we're doing isn't working.
Madam President,
Point of order.
I'm sorry, we cannot continue this with shouting out. We have to be able to hear, and Ms. German needs to be able to hear. And there will be public comment to say that.
Madam
Ms.
President,
Wester.
I understand, please, thank you. I can read, I understand, we've talked about this before, about how our office has been in a disarray. It did not just happen. Yes, Dr. Edmondson brought this up prior to going through all this. My statement is, yes, I know it's just to look, but he should be part of looking at the information that comes in. He should be a part of looking at the applications and the companies that are coming in to see what it is that they offer. That's why I say, no, our superintendent needs to be a part of the process. Yes, he made the appointment. Yes, he mentioned, we need to do this. We may have to bring someone in to assist. Let him come and do his job to help get our department back in order. We all know what was said. We know what Sovey said. We know what Mr. Dixon said. But we all have to remember, and it's not pointing a finger at anyone because that has been stated. We got to remember, yes, it's been here. You're in your second term. It was here when the mess was here when you were in the first term. So it's not like it's new. It's making it seem like it's all Dr. Edmondson's fault. And I understand, you say it's not personal, but that's what it looks like. When he made suggestions and started to bring forth things to our attention that some of us already knew, it was always a reason as to why we couldn't do something then. At the end of the day, the investigation is done. It's over. And once again, I would love to amend the agenda to put on to bring our superintendent back to be a part of the process so we can move the district forward.
So, Ms. Lester, the investigation is not completely finished. There were, Mr. Garland had things at our last meeting, had the folder.
Microphone, they can't hear me.
So the investigation is not completely over. At the last meeting, we received the report that it is basically finished, but if you remember at the last meeting, Mr. Garland had documents, he just didn't know who to turn them into. So those are being, so that part of the investigation is being done. There are also some things that came to light just as I was coming today that I was told about, that I will tell the board, but not here. But the long story short, the investigation is not completed yet. We are not blaming anyone for how we got here.
Right, we're looking to
But
move
we are looking
forward.
at why are we staying here? We have to get out of this.
And when we had Mr. Stovey here, we extended Mr. Stovey's contract. When we went to extend Mr. Stovey's contract again, there was an issue about the dollar amounts that we were spending to get the department straight. But when we sit here and we look at it now, we're spending more money now if we had to just spent it then when Mr. Stovey was giving us things to do.
Ms. Wester, spending it then wasn't an option. Dr. Edmondson was going on medical and recommended that we not proceed with
And
Mr.
I
Stovey at the time.
understand
wasn't about
that,
the cost.
but it was prior to him going out on medical too. Yes, originally Dr. E was supposed to go out on medical in March. For reasons he had to wait till June. So these conversations were going on back then. Dr. E has been out longer now for this investigation than he was for open heart surgery. And when you want to sit here and we want to talk about doing things and being judicially responsible, fiscally responsible, we're not. We're not. And I don't understand if there's a couple more things going on, how would it be that he would be impeding the investigation? There was an investigation against him and he was able to come to work and not communicate with that person. It's this here, and that's what I was getting ready to say. It's like you're looking for something to pin on this man that was bringing our district up.
In addition to that, you brought up a very valid point. Dr. Edmondson is not here. We have Mr. Garland is here, and he waved that folder and said, I have been trying to provide, while this investigation is going on, I've been trying to provide these receipts. And Dr. Edmondson is not here. And it's still being elongated with information that he was trying to provide. This, and the way I see it, because whenever the motion is brought forth, there is not any rationale, no rationale. This is an eloquent way of punishing Dr. Edmondson. It's an eloquent way of disabling central office to place whoever. It's not right. Bring him back. Allow him to come back and work the district. Get us back into shape. To stand mute and say we're just not ready to do it yet. Just a quick no. That's not. When we hired Dr. Edmondson, I remember thinking, we are finally on a path where we have our community engaged, we have our teachers engaged, our students are going to benefit. And it's being plucked apart. We're starting back all over again. We are in a worse position now. Let's start moving forward. Allow him to come back. Allow us to place this on the agenda and do what's best for our students, do what's best for our community, do what's best for our teaching staff, our central office people. forget about this investigation, at this point, that's the reason that he's out on paid leave. He would not be hindering the investigation, because again, we have someone that stood up and said, this investigation has been going on, and I really just do not want to hear someone that's given a false narrative, making it look like this is something that Dr. Edmondson has done when he has not. These issues, where benefits weren't paid to our teachers, their investment funds were not deposited properly, and all these other things were pre-Dr. Edmondson. He should be here. He should be here.
So, Mr. Rell, to that, that's why this investigation has not been into any person, it has been into processes, because this does, our problems in our finance department go back a long way. And most, and so we know that our business office problems go back a long way. Most recently, Dr. Edmondson recognized that and brought that to us when he came to us 15 months ago. So in the last year, we have Dr. Edmondson has noticed it. It did predate him. We have Don Sovey has recognized it, and a financial consultant who's an expert described it as a train wreck. We have had Mike Dixon come in, who has told us that, I'm sorry,
Point of order.
We've had Mike Dixon come in and tell us, which led to an investigation which has revealed the severity of the dysfunction in our business office. So we have, since Dr. Edmondson, we have had 4 people, including Dr. Edmondson, 2 financial consultants, the investigation plus an auditor, saying the way your business office functions and dysfunction has become your norm. If significant changes aren't made immediately, your district won't survive the short term. How is this about a person? This is about an entire district and the longevity of it. And when we are being told by our superintendent, by 2 financial consultants, by an investigation, by our auditor, that our business practices are going to cause our district to crumble. This is not about a person. This is about outsourcing what we have.
Point of order.
Okay, we cannot hear. We have to be able to conduct business. Mr. Hanson, please stop talking. So what I am saying is, this is bigger than any person or group of people. This is about getting our finance department back functioning.
Right.
So right now, and I hear all of the reasons and the other things, but right now, the
Point of order. Ms. Piles, President Piles.
Yes, Ms.
We are trying to conduct business, and it is difficult to hear you. So we need to control the audience.
Okay, Mr. Hanson. So the motion on the floor and discussion needs to be germane to that. The motion on the floor is with or without Edmondson. Our business office is in the same predicament with or without him. So yes, it is. He identified that. He told us. So the motion on the floor is that the motion on the floor.
Mr. Hanson.
Mr. Hanson, you cannot sit in here and disrupt the meeting.
This is a public meeting, and we are trying to conduct business.
Okay, so the motion on the floor. No. The motion on the floor is simply whether or not the Board of Education will solicit proposals for temporary outsourcing of the management and administrative functions of the finance department. Mr. Bergeron.
Yes, Madam President. With all due respect, you don't take care of the problem with taking the lead of the problem if you think out and move them out. You've got a person in here that's already made $300 tonight and hasn't done a doggone thing. You know, when I first came on this board, you and Sue said that we cannot spend no more in the central office. We don't have the money. We're broke. Now, all of a sudden, we're spending money like drunken sailors. You know, and with all due respect, you need our leader back, and if he needs some help, let him get the help. Okay? What do you know about this? What the lawyers are telling you? What the accountant? They're going to tell you anything because they're making bucks off of us. Big bucks. You spend more money on specialists than you would have on what's her name in finance, Jules' assistant that she wanted, or the human resource director. You spent more money already on that, and we could have had somebody in here taking care of these problems. But no, we got to put them on leave, and and I understand how it's difficult it is to be a leader of an organization. But you know what? The organization's first, Ms. Piles. The organization is first, and you're treating it like it's not. Okay, you're treating it like it's not. You're treating it like it's yours, and it's not yours. It's ours.
Has there been a motion? It has been.
Madam President, I just want to add to this that the vacant positions, the executive curriculum and the human resources director, those are base budget lines where there's salary savings because there's no one in those positions. Okay, and so we don't have that information in front of us, but I'm quite sure that those salaries together, if we are to look at this, would be quite a bit because, when you add those things together. So there is a salary savings because those fundings are not used in the general fund.
Okay. So thank you. Okay, so, all right, so there's a motion on the floor, Madam Secretary.
Bergeron? No. Terrell?
No.
Kennard?
Yes.
Evans, yes. Wester?
Absolutely not.
German?
Yes.
Piles?
Yes. Motion carries. Next we have communications from the public. Do we have, I'm gonna make sure. Okay. So if we have anyone who wants to speak, please turn in your form. Mr. Cooper, please make sure that anybody who submits a public comment has submitted their name. Yes, it's in our bylaws, yes. I'm going to, okay. All right. So, okay. To ensure due process and respect of individual rights, the district maintains a formal process for handling complaints against individuals. A problem involving an individual or specific incident is best handled through administrative channels. The guidelines for our public comment during this meeting include requiring individuals who wish to address the board to identify themselves, their address, and any organization they may represent, and that is in our board bylaws. Limiting the time any individual may address the board to 3 minutes. Requiring individuals who wish to address the board to direct their comments to the entire board and not to individual board members. the superintendent, other district employees, or members of the audience. Advising the public that generally the individual board members will not respond to comments or questions that arise during the public participation portion of the meeting. Prohibiting behavior that is intemperate, abusive, defamatory, or discourteous, or that otherwise interferes with the orderly conduct and timely completion of the board meeting. Excluding from the meeting an individual who engages in conduct that constitutes a breach of the peace. Speakers are asked to express themselves in a civil manner with due respect for the dignity and privacy of others who may be affected by your comments. While it is not our intent to stifle public comment, speakers should be aware that if your statements violate the rights of others under the law of defamation or invasion of privacy, you may be held legally responsible. If you are unsure of the legal ramifications of what you are about to say, we urge you to consult first with your legal advisor. And that is from MASB.
Deanne Osborne Rumler.
Thank you. Greetings to the Romulus School Board and members of the community. My name is Deanna Osborne Rumler. I'm here with my brother, John Osborne. My family have been business owners in the city of Romulus since 1965. As tax-paying business in this city, we feel that our voice should be heard, even if sadly it falls upon deaf ears. This coming January, we've been in business for 57 years. And do you know how many school superintendents have reached out to us? One. In 57 years, one. One superintendent has reached out to the local businesses to form a partnership within the community. One superintendent asked, how can we help? How can we help you keep our community resources within our community? How can we help keep skilled, good-paying jobs within our community? And we thought, wow, someone who cares about this community, this district, someone who can affect change. And change we started to see. Dr. Edmondson energized the local business base. We partnered with Dr. E and another local business, Motor City Meats, to provide grocery bundles during last year's holiday season for families in need within the district. We were able to help 50 families within the Romulus community. This year, we got our employees involved, along with a company matching fund. And as of right now, we'll be able to more than double the number of families in the community we'll be able to assist. This is all because of Dr. E reaching out. I'm afraid without Dr. E, programs like this will no longer be pursued within the community. Watching your kangaroo court-style board meetings and what is going on here is disheartening. I understand why you give your board disclaimer at the start of public comment, that you won't answer questions directly because I don't believe you'll have any answers that would not come off as glib, trite, or disdainful towards how this community feels in regard to your treatment of our superintendent and his staff. Thank you.
Carol Bales. You can wait. Mike Hansen.
My name is Mike Hansen. I'm the treasurer secretary of the REA. I have a couple issues I would like to address. Ms. Piles, first. On 9/1, you spoke to Joel Miller about myself in a 20-minute conversation. I would like to know why I was the subject of your call that day. If possible, I would like an answer towards the end of my comments. Second, I am greatly disappointed in the civil war brought on by our Gang of Four. You had an opportunity to bring Dr. Edmondson back today, and once again, the Gang of Four chose not to. Disgraceful. This deeply concerns the workers in this district. You stated he was not being disciplined, but yet his absence is still felt. We believe in Dr. Edmondson, and he needs to be reinstated. Last, I would like to address some inaccurate comments made by Ms. German, applauded by Ms. Evans in the last board meeting. First, Ms. German, you had every opportunity to be transparent with the board and stakeholders of this district. You chose to remain silent. It wasn't until a FOIA request was granted that we understood why you remained quiet. You want to cry victim when in the end you have been the bully and abused your power you were given. The victims of your political attacks are Dr. Edmondson, our students, and the district stakeholders. You choose to act in a corrupt political manner. You were less than truthful about your son on his application. That the application was not for this district, but for other districts. You can't change the facts, Ms. German, and we're not going to believe in what you have to say. That application was for this district. I also want to address the fact that you said this district has nothing to offer your kid. This is incorrect. I think the reality is you don't have anything to offer us. You stated you wanted to be an innovation to this district. I am not seeing innovation with the political witch hunt that you and your Gang of Four have taken out on our superintendent. I don't see innovation that you could bring to our elementary schools when your elementary school scores are much lower than our elementary school.
Time.
Time is
leads
up.
me to
Mr.
think-
Hanson, your time is up. You
On
must
this
stop.
elected
Mr.
board-
Hanson, your time is
Mr.
up.
Hanson, your
Are
time is up.
agents of our local
Mr. Hanson,
Hanson, your time
is up.
your time is
You have
up.
made comments that we do not treat everyone fairly at the microphone. Your time is up, please.
Mr. Hanson, your time is up.
Do I get an answer to my question?
I'll talk with you later. Right now, your time is up. Who is next?
Please resign.
Ms. Montroy?
Hello, Ms. Piles. I would like to ask if I go over my 3 minutes, if I could please have the courtesy to finish. Is that something the board's willing to let me do?
Ms. Montroy, I will hear you after, but because we have to stick to the 3 minutes. If we extend that courtesy for one, then we.
Well, since I haven't spoken to a board meeting in 24 years, can I multiply that by 3? Because that would give me 72.
Ms. Montroy, I wish I could let you, but you know that to be consistent, I can't. But it's not because
Okay.
we don't want to hear what you have to say.
That's fine. I have a gift of speaking fast. Have we started the 3 minutes yet?
I'll start when you start.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Okay, my name is Becky Montroy. I have been a teacher at Barth for 24 years. I also went to Romulus Community Schools, kindergarten through 12th grade. I can say this, I love Romulus. I would like to say, never have I ever seen anything like this. It makes me incredibly sad. It has come to my understanding that there has been some discussion about the bidding for plexiglass that was ordered last February. I served on that committee for Return to Learn last winter. The committee began having meetings mid-January with the intent to return to face-to-face learning on March 8th. At that time, it was next to impossible to get plexiglass. I tried to find some myself as well. We, the committee and staff, were so grateful when the maintenance team was able to locate it. It was my understanding that it is questionable whether the plexiglass should have gone out to bid. It is also my understanding that it is questionable if it was considered an emergency or not. I hope this is a very bad rumor. I thought this was part of the reasoning for the delaying of the return to learn, face-to-face instruction. Keeping the students and staff is always a priority, especially in a pandemic. Bill Garland and myself had several conversations about the safety of our kids. I can still remember Bill looking me in the eyes and saying, "Becky, I can assure you, I will do everything I can to make sure these kids are safe." At that moment, I knew Bill's words were like gold. And for that, I thank you, Mr. Garland. Thank you. The community thanks you, and I can assure you my students and their parents thank you. In the Return to Learn plan that went out to parents, it was clearly stated that there would be plexiglass at the tables to keep the students and staff safe. How could we return to school without it? How could this not be an emergency? We, the staff, were scrambling, trying our hardest to get the schools ready as quickly and efficiently as possible before the kids came back. Emergency? The answer is yes. I was there. As of now, COVID numbers are going higher. There are many breakthrough cases with people that are even vaccinated. The safety of our children and staff should be the district's #1 goal. How can you expect the staff to keep the students safe if there are not proper materials? Are you aware that there are not consistent COVID protocols in place for your staff and students? This should be the board's #1 priority. I listen to the board meetings and I hear no discussion of this. It's the same conversations over and over. Can we please stop and move forward? It is time. The staff of our staff is working hard, and I want to ensure the parents and the community that we are doing everything we can, even with all this noise. I was going to end by thanking every single person on the staff, teachers, our support staff, our bus drivers, our food services, our tech department, and I do want to end with this, and you can gavel me if you want. I keep using the pronoun our because they are our kids. It takes a village to raise these kids.
Ms. Montroy,
We are
I'm
all
sorry,
part of the
but
same
your time
team,
is up.
and it is important
Ms.
that we begin
Montroy.
working together with kindness for the
Ms.
betterment
Montroy.
of the students, our staff,
Ms.
our
Montroy,
school,
your
and
time is up.
community. Thank you.
Ms. Carter.
Sarah Carter, REA President. So, Ms. Piles, you just stated tonight that the investigation is not over. So if the investigation is not over, why were the findings posted on the district website? That's what I would like to know. John Garrick stood up here last week and said, "We have concluded our investigation." And now tonight we're finding out the investigation is still going on. And everyone heard it, and everyone heard it. You continue to quote Dr. Edmondson. Dr. Edmondson said this, Dr. Edmondson said this, when he's not here to speak for himself. I suggest that he return to the next board meeting for his rebuttal, because I know he will answer all of the questions. Now, Ms. German, couldn't come to Face the Music tonight. You tried coming for the REA, but all you did was expose yourself. And the best part is you did it publicly and on camera. Last week, you said Romulus Community Schools had nothing to offer. So everyone that works for Romulus, we have nothing to offer kids. While promoting the local charter schools with a lot of fake facts that you said. As a board member, you publicly bashed every single person that works in this school district that gives their all every single day. How dare you do that? Board members, you need to ask for her resignation from this board immediately.
Rita Hampton.
Dr. Ben was not here when the educational stipends was taken away. Sean was. That's when he was here. Then see, we forget, because you all are upset, I know, so we forget. That educational stipends was taken when Dr. Ben was off sick. All right? So I just found that out. Somebody just emailed. I get a lot of emails. Somebody was at a meeting or somewhere saying they're scared here. They're afraid for their bodily harm. So that's why we have security. Wonder who that could be. Well, we won't say. I will stick to the I will stick to the microphone. Some things I don't want to say. The word, someone says, Rita, you didn't give us a word. The word is hubris. Hubris. It means when you so confidently continue to do wrong and you keep doing it. You say you're listening. You're not listening. You're looking at your computers. There's a rumor out there whether Mr. Ben if he comes back, then I'll stop the recall. They send me a whole pack this month. Recall, keep doing it. That's the note was in there. The note was in there from the county. Somebody believes in me. I'm going back tomorrow morning and deliver my 3 recalls, Evans, Piles, and Kennard. And I'll keep on in a box with a fox, in a house with mice or mouse. It doesn't matter. I'm going to keep on keeping on. I don't know if you care about kids. How could you have Miss German? Miss President could have went in there and said, hey, you're going to have to leave now. You didn't say it all. But she is still voting and carrying on us to doom. And don't care. I've been coming to the meetings and listening for over a year. I heard what she said when she wanted to be on the board. Oh, I can work for Dr. Ben. I can do this. Me and Dr. Ben have worked together before. Now he's doomed. I wonder what happened. Was it that job? I don't know what happened, but I know she shouldn't be here. That's not right. She said it. Everybody heard it. And to think you're dealing with constituents in this. I love Romulus. I moved here. I'm an Inkster girl. Robichaud. Sorry, Romulus, but I'm going to tell you now. Romulus got people who are thinkers. I just found that out. I love this school district. You got thinking people, and they're
Your
not.
time is up.
They're
Ms.
not
Hampton.
dumb or ignorant. They are able to use critical
Ms.
thinking.
Hampton,
to know
your time is
that
up.
this is not the place.
Ms. Hampton, your time is up.
Too bad. As
Ms.
I was
Hampton,
saying,
your time is up.
as I was saying,
Ms. Hampton.
you have the best
Ms.
district,
Hampton.
and you got the best people in the
Ms.
district,
Hampton.
and they will be able to
Your
figure
time
this
is up.
out.
Hampton, your time
Next
is
time
up.
on Monday, I
Ms.
expect this
Hampton,
place to
please
be
stop.
standing
Your
room
time is up.
only.
Ms.
And I
Hampton,
say
your time is
recall.
up. Ms.
Recall.
Hampton, your time is up. Emily Matron.
What was the name?
Emily Maturin. I'm sorry, is it Maturin? Maturin, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Emily Maturin, 4th grade teacher at Hale Creek. I've been speaking at several meetings, so I honestly don't really know that there's much more to say that has not been said and pleaded to the board to care about its kids. It has been said for months, and the majority of this board, they have proven, it's not speculation, it's proven that the majority of this board does not care. Proven. It's not words are just one thing. Actions speak way louder than words, and I'm not seeing that. I have seen extreme incompetence for this elected job to serve the school and its community and the students and the staff, and that's not happening. I I do want to thank, because I'm looking at just raw facts here, and those who have voted for the kids consistently, Ms. Terrell, Ms. Wester, Mr. Bergeron. They have consistently voted for the students, and I'm looking at straight facts of what's best and what's not. And that is really sad that it's only the minority voting for what the teachers need, what the students need. We're not doing it for ourselves. I would not be here if it was just about me. It's not. It's about this whole district. And when this district goes under, it will not be because of our teachers or our staff, our administrators, students, community. It will be because of the majority of the board, and that would be on you, on your shoulders. Do not have that reputation or legacy. Do not. I just don't understand how, if with the conscience, how that could resonate at night with anybody. I invite you to come into my classroom any day of the week, any time, and come and see who you're affecting every single day. Come into any of our classrooms. I have never, all school year, I have not seen one person in my classroom, but that's also because of COVID, but I'm talking about in the past as well. Come in and see who you're affecting. I need the four of you need to do what's right. Bring Dr. Edmondson back or resign. It's simple as that. Otherwise, this district's going to go under. Also, I know there was a private security company here tonight, and I would like to ask the question if Romulus taxpayers are paying for that. And we're pumping more unnecessary money and wasting money because of the majority of the board. We would not be in this position if it was not for those majority votes. And it's a disgrace. I am so saddened and disappointed and disheartened by those actions. If I ran my classroom the way these board meetings are run, I would be fired or marked ineffective on all of my, whenever I have to be evaluated, which is, we get evaluated as teachers, not just based on our grades, but also what our principals see. And I would not have this job if I ran my classroom the way these board meetings were run.
Your time is up. Thank you. Darcel Davis.
Hi, before I start, one question. Where is Mrs. German? Because I haven't seen her through these public comments. Let's see. Okay. I'd like to start with this quote by Congressman John Lewis. Never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Now, I'm not sure about this board, but I know that I really care about this district. What I witnessed last meeting from one of your members absolutely infuriated me. They basically went on a rant attacking our school district. Some quotes from them say, "Have you asked me why he goes to another school? Ask the 2,500 students that are at Romulus Metro Charter Academy. You don't have a football program for my son. You have nothing for him. Ask the 2,500 that you don't see in your district." Now notice how they said your district. Aren't you supposed to be one of this district's board members? Now let me read off some of the things that we do have in our district. We have tennis, cosmetology, AP classes, LIFT program, middle school choir, leadership, STEAM, NHS, quiz bowl, student of the month, chess club, football, basketball, volleyball, cheerleading, softball, baseball, soccer, bowling, wrestling, band, color guard, early college, art, culinary arts, BPA, student government, health occupations, weight training, track, cross-country, golf, Spanish club, guided academics, Camp Learn a Lot, Bright Future, Success Lab, Boys and Girls Club, swimming, and those are only a few of the things. And I want to show the virtual people and the news people that we are not nothing. We have things to offer here at this district. Now, I will say that I've seen some of my graduated peers go on and get athletic scholarships and commit to colleges and universities. For me, because of my band teacher and our music program here in Romulus, I have a really good music scholarship from Wayne State University that literally covers half of my tuition for the rest of my undergraduate career. Now, for that board member, do not sit there and throw out incorrect assumptions without any facts to support your position. This board does not need such a shocking, vile, and shameful person representing our district. Take your inaccurate opinions and go if you don't care about this district. I would recommend that this board needs to remove or reprimand this person after their show last meeting and them falling asleep at this meeting. Thank you.
Tina Talley.
Good evening, everybody. The last time I was here, which was several months ago, one of the things I do remember saying was that I would ask the board to let the superintendent do his job. I remember saying that because I told the story of how I went to Inkster for an all-class reunion, and they were celebrating their all-class reunion on a field with no building. I remember saying that, and I was like, please let this superintendent do his job. And I can't come to the meetings physically because our meetings conflict, as we all know. Dr. Ben was working on that so that we can kind of change it so that we can support each other's meetings. And I think he got pushed back on that as well. I hear the message, I've been watching on YouTube. I was glad to be able to participate. I had a special meeting, so I was able to come tonight because we didn't have a council meeting. I hear specific board members on here consistently asking the same question, and even the audience saying, bring our superintendent back. I watched the last board meeting, and I saw these contract stuff, and I don't know all the terminology, a lot of discussion on things that you guys are not equipped to do. It's for the superintendent to do. You're struggling on a headache. That is not your job. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. From my understanding, board trustees get $50 a meeting, if that's correct. This man gets 6 figures. How can you take on the responsibility of a superintendent getting $50 a meeting, and he gets 6 figures? I would be wanting him to do his job. I would be wanting him to do his job. And so we don't want to get to a place, we are trying to move our city forward. We can't move our city forward if our school district ain't in order. We can't. We got to work together. We just had a business owner talking about partnering. We have to do one community, unity strong. We have to be one community. School district, city, community, court, businesses, everybody. And so the one thing I did see in the last meeting, the united, I see unity, but not, it's with the teachers, the staff, but it's not with specific board members. Everybody unified except for specific board members. You guys, if we want to keep our Romulus moving forward, Romulus strong, we got to get past ourselves and get past this for the sake of these children and for the sake of our community. Y'all need to bring this man back and let him do his job. Thank you.
Jessica Reyes.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Race. I am Director of Bands for Romulus High School and Romulus Middle School. And I'll say, I sat out in the audience tonight and I said, I don't know that there's anything that I can say that I haven't already said. However, I decided I'm going to take a page out of Miss Rita's book tonight, and I'm going to start with a word. And that word is going to be hypocrisy. I'm thinking back a couple years ago when we were having issues obtaining a contract, and I sat at board meeting after board meeting. And some of you who are sitting up here now were sitting next to me at those board meetings. I remember you walking alongside us. I remember you leaving feeling frustrated and angry, feeling like you weren't being heard. I remember having conversations with you that we feel the only way that we're heard is by making noise. By making enough noise that we attract news crews, by making enough noise that we attract community members, and that's the way that we are able to be heard. That's what we've been taught. That's a learned trait, because we're not heard when we're peaceful and quiet. And you were there with us. We supported you. I supported you. I remember standing outside in 30-degree weather, handing out little cards saying, please vote for these people because we believe in them, because we believe they're going to make our district better, and look where we are. At the beginning of the year, I felt like I had hope. My husband's in the audience tonight, and we both felt like there was peace. Finally, I don't need to go to board meetings anymore. I can watch them on TV, and I trust that the people running the district are going to make the right decisions in the best interest of students, in the best interest of staff who are providing for students. And here we are again. Guess what? You're them now. Here we are, sitting in the audience, making noise so that we can be heard. How many people have stood up here and asked when Dr. Edmondson is coming back? How many people? How many days have we stood up here? Okay? And it's not just about bringing Dr. Edmondson back. It's about all the balls that get dropped when we don't have a leader at central office. It's about me staying until 5 or 6 o'clock at night trying to work on purchase orders when there's no one over there to approve them for me so that I can get my music purchased for the winter concert, for the festival that happens in March. I finally got it approved. I can finally do that. However, there wasn't someone over there to make those approvals for me. Okay? It's about COVID protocols. Someone stood up here earlier and talked about how they're inconsistent. I'm in 2 buildings. I absolutely know they're inconsistent because I'm in 2 buildings. Okay? The students are not being taken care of equally among every single district in terms of quarantining, in terms of making sure that contact tracing is followed. And I have concerns about that. I have health issues. My family has health issues. And I know students do as well. It's about when I was a Romulus resident and I've had to call the Romulus police and wait an hour or an hour and a half for them to arrive, and we probably had the entire police force tied up at this meeting tonight over our bickering. And what in the world is happening out in the city? Well, we're tying them up over this again.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tanya Gregory.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Gregory. I am a longtime Romulus resident. I attended Romulus schools. My husband attended Romulus schools. Our children attended them, and our grandchildren do now. I am deeply affected by this. I have spoken up previously, but nothing is changing. Our staff has requested for Dr. Edmondson to come back. Our teachers have requested. Our community is requesting that, and it's not being heard. We get no response. All of the findings have been posted. So now all of a sudden, the investigation is not over, but the findings were posted. Make it make sense. It seems like you are out for him. We want our leader back, and we can't get a response. Bring him back. Thank you.
Mr. Green.
Darice Green, Essex Street, Romulus, lifetime resident. I'm going to pick up where Mike left off. He wanted to finish this. Mrs. German, you are allowed to have the opinion that we are offering nothing for your children. You're not allowed to claim the victim when REA is holding you responsible for your politically corrupt behavior. Likewise, we believe you really have nothing to offer our district as well. It is time for you to resign your position. You're not the victim here. The students and stakeholders are. Ms. Piles, Ms. Evans, Ms. Kennard, you also need to resign and give us back our school district. Thank you. And that's Mike's finishing remarks. Now, I'll start with my remarks personally. I mean, first and foremost, thank you, Pete. Thank you, Ms. Terrell, and thank you, Ms. Ursula, for diligently trying to bring order back to this heinous situation here. Ms. Piles, it seems to me that you and your three, I should say, are doing nothing but sabotaging our district on your erroneous moves that you've been making throughout. You don't know how to chair a meeting. You call recesses when you're completely out of order the way you run your meetings. You need to really take a class in Robert's Rules of Order. The rest of you four that's consistently doing what you're doing, keep doing it. We watching. When that recall petition come around, I'm gonna walk it. I'm gonna walk it because you guys are dead wrong. Bring Dr. E back. Let him do his job. You're not no HR director. You can't hire and fire who he wants to put in those positions, offering intern positions and such. Can't do that, man, and it's just dead wrong. You're dead wrong. You're only supposed to supervise. I sit on the board as well, your housing commission board, and all of my job is to do is to supervise. We have a management company, and that's your superintendent. Let him do his job. Thank you.
Carol Bales.
Hi, before you start timing me, Sue, I just want to address something. On my phone, you were talking on the agenda when I came up, and I wasn't trying to be disruptive at all. But I was showing the superintendent, I have a copy of the contract that was restored. I have a copy on my phone. I will be happy to show any of you that contract because that employee should have been restored. I don't know, I didn't get the vote how it went through, but when she was hired, she was given that money. And so it should have never been taken away. Right. So it's on my phone. I'm happy to share it with you. You voted for it. It was brought back the following year. That's all I was doing. And the second thing is I'm selling tickets. I'm on the Good Fellows Committee for the Christmas raffle. And I have been collecting socks, hats. The staff in the schools have been so generous to me. And I didn't realize I was getting in such a big job. My whole family room is so full of goodies. But thank you, everybody. But anyway, and thank you, Osborne, for what you're doing. Yes. And anyway, now you can start. To date, we have not received current financial status of the district or even an approximate figure of our financial status. We have received no current information on our enrollment status, other than we may be down about 200 students. And if so, that would be approximately $2 million. Our taxpayers are to be applauded for their passage of millages and are entitled to a detailed report on our financial and enrollment status. Don Sovey and Jewel Clare provided updates, but I have seen no financial spreadsheets, PowerPoints provided by our current consulting firm. Could you please put that on next week's agenda? Mr. Dixon even said we may have a cash flow problem. So I'm concerned, do we have money or don't we? I've asked it consistently. For that reason, I think it would be most beneficial to bring back our superintendent, bring back Don Sovey, who provided a plan last February or March, and bring back Marie Miller, if she is willing to come back, and continue with going forward in their training of the finance department and in keeping with board policies. I believe you were headed in the right direction and should have continued. But unless you are withholding information from us and aren't being transparent, we don't know what the problem is. We were under the understanding that the investigation was done last week. I personally believe that bringing another outsider to start all over would be a disaster to our district. As I told you before, I worked in central office when there was a deficit and it was a nightmare. Please consider my request and talk to your staff. You have a lot of caring people that have worked for the district for years, and they are not being paid competitive wages. It is time to move forward now and make Romulus schools the best. It is time to be positive, not negative. We don't have to agree, but we all need to strive for what is best for all. That is students, families, staff, and community. And if there's information that we should know as taxpayers, please inform us. Dragging this out is hurting our kids, it's hurting our district. Thank you.
Is that all? Okay. Mr. Cooper? So, as we were saying, those who have submitted, please make sure that their name is read. And anyone submitting a comment without a name, the OMA requires that a person may address the public body under the rules established and recorded by the public body. The board may establish a rule requiring individuals to identify themselves if they wish to speak at a meeting, and that is in our bylaws. So please read the names of those submitting comments, and those who have not, do not read them.
From Julie Flinkman. Good evening. My name is Julie Flinkman. I am the first grade teacher at Hill Creek. I have served as a Ramos educator for the last 21 years. I have asked this question to our school board in the past and would like to ask you the same question as most of you weren't in the board the last time I asked the question. What is your why? Why are you here? Why did you choose to serve in the school board? School board members are locally elected public officials entrusted with governing a community's public schools. The role of the school board is to ensure that school districts are responsive to the values, beliefs, and priorities of their communities. I would ask that you please think long and hard about your why and decide if your why is parallel to the above role as a school board member. If it is not, then it's simple, resign. Thank you. Tammy Garrison, resident, taxpayer, employee, and Local 64 president. Thank you very much for addressing the stipends of the assistants at the Central Board Office. They deserve the stipends and more. I would just like to remind you that just 6 months ago, Local 64 asked for a one-time $1,000 retention bonus for each of the 9 secretaries, and we were told the funds were not available. Our union settled for a one-time bonus of $500, each totaling $4,500. Some of these secretaries have been with the district for more than 20 years. Some have college degrees as well. Please don't forget about the extra responsibilities and time also given to support the students and the families of our district. Our district and our industries are hiring, and on average, we have had to replace 20% of our secretaries annually to wage stagnations. Please don't make it any harder for us to stay. Thank you. Penny Dahl? Dahl? This is a long one, so. Dear board members, there have been many things in my mind that affect my students' lives in the classroom on a daily basis, along with affecting me directly too. I don't think you understand what the repercussions of your actions are on us in the trenches. I am fairly new to the district, 3rd year here, but 18 years teaching. I thought I found my forever home. If I didn't love my coworkers and our leadership, I would reconsider the choice. I'm sure I speak for many teachers on this. The morale of our staff has taken a huge hit because of people at the very top acting less than professional. First of all, the money being unnecessarily spent for the lawyers, the interim superintendent, the financial consultants could be much better spent in hiring counselors and social workers. Each of these people make as much in one day, if not more, than my entire weekly paycheck. Our students desperately need these support staff members. Behavior issues are, in my opinion, higher than I've seen in many years. In turn, when I am forced to stop instruction to deal with recurring and ongoing disruptions daily, it results in less instructional time for the students. They need targeted guidance and social skills, problem-solving strategies, and emotional management of their feelings so I can do my job to teach them academics. I do extensive research to be able to incorporate the best social emotional learning practices to allow my students to internalize these lessons and make better choices in the classroom. I fit these lessons in along with other academic standards. I need to teach them too. This was one of the things Dr. Edmondson was trying to get in place for our schools when he was placed on unsubstantiated leave. He understands that this is like to be one of us. Do you all? Do you understand the unnecessary stress you have placed on my students and my job by not having this in place? Next, the loss of our curriculum director has placed unnecessary stress on me as a teacher by spending an inordinate amount of time trying to make sure I am providing the best instructional materials and lessons for my kids. Hiring another curriculum director should have been a top priority too. Do you know what it's been like, what it feels like to spend hours searching for lessons when you know you already have enough on your plate, just preparing the material, teaching, assessing, grading, communicating with parents along with others, paperwork that needs to be done on a daily basis, all the costs of my personal and my family time. Do you come in early and stay late each day to make sure it all gets done? Finally, the overall lack of focus on what is needed for our students and what staff who implement these measures tells me you're not truly in it for the kids. By wasting time voting on trivial agenda items that end up tabled due to the lack of needed information, not being completely transparent in your actions and motivations, and the total lack of cohesiveness as a board in general are contributing to the demise of our district. Have you been to any of the classrooms since you put Dr. Edmondson on leave? Have you seen all the hard work we are continually doing even though we don't know the direction the district is headed in? Our students, families, teachers, and staff deserve people that will stand up.
Sorry. Needed
Okay.
time on that one.
Sally Mae Jones. Good evening. I am concerned and confused by the refusal to bring back Dr. Edmondson. The rationale for his leave was in regards to fear that his presence would intervene with the investigation. The investigation is over. The district is at a standstill without a leader or a staffed central office. Meanwhile, the majority of this board continues wasting away what little you've managed to save by contracting so many at such a high pay rate, while paying others on leave and seeking legal counsel regularly. Allow the superintendent to return and hire his cabinet. Allow this district to move forward. Allow the hired professionals with relevant degrees to do their job. Allow the egos to take a seat and do what is the best for the students. Isn't it that why you were here after all? For the students. Thank you. Skylar Thomas. I would like to speak about something from the last meeting. I once went to Metro Charter Academy and wanted to switch to Romulus. This was one of the best things I could do for my education. Romulus had a sense of community until recently. Metro does not have 2,500 students as previously mentioned, nor do they have a football program. Metro has 1/5 of those students, and that information was found on their website. Romulus was becoming better till certain actions were taken 2 months ago. It is really disheartening to know that some people on this board has their own personal agenda before the district and community needs. I feel disrespected and not cared for one bit by the statement by one of the board members last week, Ms. German. Those who are in power of the board choose when to listen to their own rules and when to respect to others or when to cut them off. It's quite interesting that the board is supposed to be for the students, but there are no conversations about how to help the students, and it's obvious our voices are not being listened to. I wish there is improvement and Dr. E to come back. Hopefully he brings the community back together and the mess we have seen before and after the mess that we've seen before us. And the last one, there was no comment, there's no name.
Thank you, Mr. Cooper. Next, we have board member comments. Mr. Bergeron.
Yes, with all the information I've heard tonight and in fact is watching the last board meeting, I believe that Ms. Germain should resign, and I make a motion that the board request her to resign by her attitude towards the school district and the people in the school district.
Do you have anything else, Mr. Bergeron? Because that is not the board's role. That is not the board's role. No, it's not.
You're going to tell me I'm accusing that it's wrong? No, I'm making a motion that we ask her to resign. There's nothing in there.
You have to make a motion to amend the agenda.
I move to amend the agenda to put a item on there to have Ms. Germain resign from this board because of her words at the meeting last week. And everybody in Romulus knows that she said that we have nothing to offer. Goodbye.
We make the motion, just the motion.
Yeah, I made the motion.
Okay, Madam Secretary. There's a motion to amend the agenda. They can't hear me. Madam Secretary, the motion to amend the agenda. Roll call, please.
Bergeron? Kennard?
No.
Wester?
Yes.
Terrell? Piles?
No.
Evans, no.
Wow, that's what you think of this community, don't you?
Motion failed.
That's what you think of this community.
Okay, Mr. Bergeron.
Did we get everybody's vote?
So the motion to amend the agenda failed. Mr.
Did we get
Bergeron?
everybody, did we ask Ms. German? Is she still on? We didn't do everybody's vote?
Ms. German, are you still with us?
Okay, so. All right, Mr. Rowe. This one will work?
I really don't even know what else to say. We've had an outcry, and we choose to ignore it. We've asked questions, and there has been no substantiated response or answer as to why we can't bring Dr. Edmondson back. And I do think it was shameful that we have a board member that said that we don't have anything to offer. And I do not agree with that. I do not agree with that. We have some gifted, dedicated teachers. We have inspired students that have been inspired by those instructors. We've had great central office staff, and we have a great superintendent that needs to come back. And again, I'll keep asking. I'm quite sure others will keep asking. We need a date. When is he coming back? Everything was done proper as far as bringing the amendment, and the answer is no, no, no. But there's no reason why. And so that question needs to be answered why. If it's not that he is being disciplined, if it's not that, it's not his fault. It is not his fault that the finances are where they are and the investigation is over. He needs to be brought back. We have, and we attended conference this past weekend in order to be able to be better leaders, to be responsive to our students, to be responsive to our community, to be able to follow legally, do things proper. And I stated it just prior to, just placing him on paid leave when he can actually be here moving us forward. Please consider.
Ms. Wester.
I totally agree with my colleagues as it relates to the state of our district. Our children are suffering. They are suffering. Like Ms. Terrell stated, we had a conference last week, MASB conference that we went to that, you go to learn. We had a phenomenal speaker, Brandon Fleming, that spoke about If you're going to teach, you have to love first in order to teach, in order to reach our children. I also went to a class called Creating Trust. That's the key to school improvement as well as academic achievement. It all works hand in hand. And what the facilitator stated, because someone did ask about going to classes and what it is that we do, what is our job as a school board member. We are the governance team. We are not to be into the day-to-day trenches, down in the weeds. We're not supposed to be down in the weeds. We're supposed to be hovering 50,000 feet over. We're supposed to supply the what we want to see. It's up to our administration to give us the how it's going to be done. We've been given information from these consultants. It was stated that the investigation was over. Now we hear the investigation is not over. The results were posted on the website on Tuesday morning when it was stated that Mr. Garland had information to present. So now that's why it's not completed yet. So it never should have been posted. It makes our community feel that we're not trustworthy. We're not trustworthy. We're not transparent. When we're transparent, it will alleviate all this going on here when we can be truthful, transparent about what's going on. I've asked, we've all asked, when is our superintendent coming back? Our community is crying out for leadership. It comes. We are a community. Like Councilwoman Talley said, the city can't move forward if the school is not moving forward. We are one. We are one. We are taxpayers, our property taxes. We are business owners. We have the Osborns here that have collaborated with us. If our leader is not here, we're going to lose all that. There's been other businesses that have reached out and said they're ready to come in and work with this district, but they're not going to do that. We need, and I say it every week, President Piles, look at what's out here. Listen to our alumni. Listen to that young man and the words that he spoke. They care about this district. I got grandkids here. You got grandkids here. We all have people that were here. We have teachers that said they graduated from here. They came back to give to this community. It's hurtful. It's heartbreaking. This is from the heart. We need our leader back. We need to move this district forward. My kids are suffering. Suffering. I've been in this community for 25 years. All my kids have gone through here. All my babies from Little League, I've been doing it for 22 years. I've touched just about every student, every kid in this city. And I say they're mine. I claim them as mine. And it hurts when they call me, Coach, what's going on? What's going on? I'm one person. But I say how I feel. And everybody that knows me knows I say how I feel. And what's going on is not right. It's not right. And we need to come together. We got to learn how to disagree to agree. We're not always going to be on the same page, but at the end of the day, I got on this board for the kids and my teachers. That's why I'm here. But on a good note, the Romulus Flyers JV team are going to the championship next week. So come out and support our babies. They're our babies. They are students here in this district. They're not anyplace else. They're here. They're here. They go from Little League to the middle school to the high school and on to college. We've gotten so many that have had scholarships. We just retired a jersey not too long ago from one of our graduates. So we have things to offer our students. We have things to offer. I love you guys. Thank you.
Ms. Abbott?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Ms. Kennard?
Not at this time.
Okay. Nothing from Ms. Kennard. Okay, I have a couple things. One, the COVID protocols. I know I've had conversations and the board has been on emails with Mr. McNatt regarding the COVID protocols. Whatever they are, we follow REIS's guidelines and have requested that those be posted on our website so all board members, parents, community members know what exactly are the guidelines are that we are following regarding quarantine, regarding what constitutes close contact, and so that, and then also ensure that we are adhering to that in all of our buildings so that there is consistency with that. That is key. We have not lost any students or staff to this novel virus and need to keep it that way to the best of our ability. Another thing I wanted to bring to the board is tomorrow at noon, Mesa is having a free online webinar. It's on youth vaccines. And 5 to 11-year-olds across the state are scheduled for their COVID-19 vaccine. Districts will play an important role in part of the state's vaccine strategy that's going to be released, and it's being released now. So in order to help districts get the resources and information that they need to be on board with the state's plan, Mesa is partnering with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services to provide this webinar tomorrow. It's at noon. It is free. You need to register. If the time does not work, it will be recorded. So if you've registered, you can go back and view that. Okay, I'm talking. Is it not broad? Is it? Okay, so to the board, the webinar, the Mesa partnering with MDHS tomorrow. The other thing I will respond to is, so our reports are on the website. We have the first report, which was a board president's statement that stated how we got here in the finance situation. The next report that was posted was documents from Clark Hill that they've investigated this far, and it's where we are now. The business transition plan that Mr. Dixon presented last week, and Ms. Bales, there was a spreadsheet with that he presented in the meeting. That is the roadmap for how we get to where we need to be. And then, so where we are now is with the investigation, Mr. Garrett gave us a report of where we were. There are things that need to be wrapped up. I mean, we know that we had the folder from Mr. Garland, but additionally, we now have sinking fund concerns about competitive bidding that wasn't done. And we need, that stuff cannot be made up. It is verifiable. It is verifiable, and it's something that we could risk losing. So while we are talking about we are ignoring a problem, we are ignoring a problem. We are ignoring the state of our business office and the long-term impacts on this community if we lose a district. Okay, so on that, motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Motion to adjourn, Piles, supported by Evans. Roll call, please.
Bergeron. Terrell. Terrell voted yes. Wester.
Yes, our superintendent needs to be a part of
Kennard?
moving forward.
Yes.
Piles.
Yes.
Evans, yes. Ms. German is absent.
Ms. German, are you, okay. Meeting adjourned at 8:47.